Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
And I'm here with an array of people who voted for and against Brexit to find out why and what the result says about the kind of nation we've become. But a worrying insight first, with news that reports of race hate crimes have risen since the referendum. There are mounting allegations of racist and xenophobic graffiti and verbal abuse. So for some people who've lived here all their lives, Britain now feels rather unwelcome, even unsafe. And I should warn you, there is racially offensive language in this report by Porrick O'Brien.
East London on Friday morning. A minicab driver swears at a man in a VW Golf trying to pass. Then that person starts racially abusing the taxi driver.
Speak proper English then.
The question, is this sort of thing more likely to happen after the referendum result? At West London's Polish Cultural Centre, they're answering that question with a resounding yes. On Saturday, and for the first time in nearly 50 years, the building was daubed with a racist slogan.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are many of us who are really glad the Poles are here.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's...
We're honoured that you're here.
Thank you so
While we were there, a man arrived with more flowers and an emotional show of support.
Thank you very
Excuse me,
much.
sir.
Thank
Can you just tell us why you've come?
Well, I've come to support the Poles because I think they've had a really bad time of it, because the Poles are great people and I've always admired them and they integrate well. They're just fantastic people.
As well as the incident at the centre, police are also investigating the fact that these laminated cards were found near a school in Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire. Multiple examples are being posted online, and it's not just anecdotal. 85 race hate incidents were reported to the National Police Hate Crime website between Thursday and Sunday, up from 54 on the same days last month. There's also been reported racial abuse directed at people who voted to leave, of course. The Prime Minister addressed the overall issue today.
We will not stand for hate crime or these kinds of attacks. They must be stamped out.
That's the big picture. Racism, though, an intimate, personal affair. On Sunday, a man slowed down, then accelerated as Nisha Party was at a zebra crossing.
Kind of step back and just kind of raise my arms to go, what are you doing? Did you not see me? And then he just shouted the P word out of his window. And it was clear to me that that was probably the reason why he didn't want to stop for me. You know, I was definitely called those kind of names when we were growing up, but I haven't been called that for a good 30 years. So it doesn't feel to me like it's a coincidence.
The referendum, it would seem, has given a minority an excuse to voice latent hatred. But also, at the Polish Centre, a chance for others, in turn, to voice something else.
Porrick O'Brien reporting there. Now, ask people why they voted to leave Europe, and you'll hear a lot about alienation and fear. Britain's people are adrift, where the fear of immigration, the fear of unemployment and wage cuts, and the fear that no one in power was willing to listen, pushed people to vote for Brexit. However did it come to this? And has the face of Great Britain been replaced by Little England? Our North of England correspondent Kieran Jenkins reports now from Hartlepool.
We're on Murray Street in Hartlepool. It's a town where 7 in 10 voted to leave and where there are clear expectations about what should come next.
We've got to allow so many to come into the country, but I think we should put a hold and stop.
And to think the importance of immigration to the leave vote had been talked down today.
Boris Johnson said today that immigration wasn't the #1 issue. Do you agree with him?
No.
Here, it couldn't be higher on the agenda, and there's little patience for politicians who've modified their message since the vote.
I think it'll go down, but just by sheer public opinion.
Even though some of the politicians seem to be preparing us for not quite that.
I think they'll have to keep their word.
Well, immigration is the issue that keeps coming up. And it's accompanied by concerns about jobs, about wages, about public services. And there's an expectation now in towns like this that feel abandoned, that feel forgotten, that this time they voted for change and that Brexit must deliver, where politics until now has failed.
There's one pledge politicians can't honour, though, because they didn't make it.
What are the promises that have to be kept?
Nobody ever claimed existing EU migrants would no longer be welcome. Nothing of the sort. And yet...
Yeah, they want to cut down on this immigration.
So that's something
and get rid of the half of them that's in the country now. They don't belong here. They're living it here. On the welfare state, that's all they're doing.
But they've got a right to be here at the moment, though, haven't they?
You see more of them walk on the streets and if they haven't got a job. They don't want a job.
Most of them are in work, sir. But everyone who's here already gets to stay. Nobody's going back or going anywhere.
Yeah. It should be the people that's born here gets to stay, but the people that are coming in now shouldn't. They should be deported back out.
You see why people might be upset by that?
Well, I don't know.
Immigration in Hartlepool is actually among the lowest in the northeast. But another telling stat, joblessness, almost twice the national average.
Are you expecting Brexit to deliver jobs for you, for Hartlepool?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm hoping to bring the factories back and the hospital back as well.
But what price change? As a poorer region, the northeast was due €700 million in EU funding. Will Westminster still match it? These two Remain voting students say the debate focused instead on you-know-what.
The immigration that I do see is normally of a benefit in my eyes. If you're in a bad situation, you think it's not going to get worse, so you vote to try and change it because you think, I've got nothing else to lose.
And so it is that on immigration, many here genuinely believe that less is more. Kieran Jenkins, Channel 4 News, Hartlepool.
Well, joining me in the studio now are 8 voters who span that generational, geographical and even occupational divide. 4 who voted Remain and 4 Leave. Darren Grimes, let's start with you. You voted Leave, you're a student. Do you still feel you look pretty happy with that decision?
Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm so proud of my country. I think we took power and gave it to individuals to make this decision. We decided to go forward as a Britain with global horizons, a Britain which is more internationalist, free trading, and I really look forward to an exciting future now. Well, that ticked a lot of boxes. Thomas Abelman, you're looking at actually quite grim-faced. You voted Remain. You're just setting up your own business. Tell us, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but do you agree or not?
I am devastated. Above all, I'm angry. I'm angry with a Leave campaign that consistently lied to people. Boris told people that they could have £350 million per week extra on the NHS. He also told people every club, every society, every county, every country that currently benefits from EU funding, like Hartlepool that we heard about earlier, that they could keep all of that as well. And the £350 million, by the way, doesn't exist.
Well, let me bring in...
This cannot happen. It is impossible. Now, as you say,
I can see Paulette here. Paulette first. Let me just bring in Paulette first. Hey, let me just introduce you. So you run a small business. Yes. You voted for Leave.
Yes.
Pick him up.
I just need to stop this. The 350 million we were talking about, we said we want to spend it on our priorities, and that included the NHS.
So do you deny that Boris promised to spend that £350 million on the NHS?
Funding. Not all of it on the NHS. We want to spend it on our priorities. We kept repeating that on our priorities.
Here is a poster of Boris standing next to a poster, and it says, let's give our NHS the 350 million the EU takes each week.
It's just a word of speech. Like, let's give you the... everybody's turning it into this negative.
That's
it's not.
What he said.
It's
I
not.
am currently
Let's
currently
be
raising investment for a new business.
Let's be positive for people.
If I presented those numbers...
Hyperbole. Thomas, let me just... OK, Sarah, we can't all talk about... Sarah, I want to bring in...
Hyperbole, exaggeration and lies on both sides to some extent during the campaign made somebody of my deeply ashamed that this political horlicks has ended up in a national calamity of this kind, and I'm very sorry that a young man like you have been so misguided as to actually think that we haven't just, I was going to use a very rude word, in relation to your future. You will live to see it, and I hope you don't regret
Oh,
that
no,
an exercise
I'm absolutely certain.
was only about dealing with a flaw in the Tory party has turned out to become a disaster for the country.
Let Darren respond to that point. Hang on one second.
It's a great thing for the bedroom.
Okay, let Darren respond to that
I'm absolutely certain that a Britain which can determine its own future is very much in our interest as a young person to decide to have a global future and not a narrow-minded one which focuses on one continent of the earth. Britain is a global country.
Goodness, a great-grandmother enjoys it.
And we're all talking at once.
If somebody gives back control, you become strong. I left a domestically violent home, okay? I took back control and became strong. And
Paul,
this is what it's all about.
let me just move on to your neighbour there, Gerard Walsh. You're a hotelier. Was it about immigration or was it about taking back control, as Paulette's just talked about?
Part of it, for me personally, it was about self-governance. But remember, Blackpool had one of the highest, or it was the highest vote leave in the whole of the North West. People are disconnected with British politics. They are worried about the immigration. It is an issue. We have had 20,000 EU migrants reside in Blackpool since 2006. That does put stresses on public services.
Well,
you can't continue with that.
That's austerity, that's not immigration.
Yes, exactly.
Immigration.
No, it's not.
That's a lack of investment, it's not immigration. Immigration opens things up, gives you more opportunities.
Nobody doesn't sympathise with that, but that's exactly the point.
So how much do you keep doing to improve public services? Do you just keep throwing money at it? There has to be a level playing field. There has to be a peak.
£250 million to charity?
What's that, sorry?
How about £250 million?
Well, there you go then. That'd be better spent in the UK.
Take back control of our money and we can distribute it how British people want to.
Let me bring in Shazia Wan here, because amongst all of these divisions, a lot of racial tensions have emerged. We've been reporting on them tonight. Shazia, you've experienced that personally, haven't you?
I've experienced a lot of this, yes, and I was proudly involved in the Strong Growing campaign, and some of my friends did vote for Brexit, but they voted for it intelligently, unlike that young man there, and they voted for it with an educated mind, and I can respect that, although I disagree with them. Now, when I got back from the count on Friday morning, I tweeted something like, it was about 8 a.m, I said, David Cameron is the least worst thing about the Conservative Party. He was a moderniser. I joined the Conservative Party when David Cameron became leader. I thought he was a good leader. I just tweeted that. It was not an inflammatory tweet. Within minutes, I got a tweet back saying, pack your bags and leave, it's time. It was followed with, you are a pig, and if a pig is born in a stable, it doesn't make it a horse. Let me finish. Don't interrupt like your rude Brexit lord. I received this email.
The nasty side.
Yesterday. I'll tell you a nasty side, which is your side. This is somebody that voted leave, and it really upset me because it's gone beyond social media. It's coming to me personally now, and that's why Channel 4 have let me have my phone. It reads this. Shazia, you are not, nor will you ever be Welsh. Being born in Wales has nothing to do with being Welsh. Can't wait to send you, anti-white, scum, garbage hating, back to the third world dump that you came from.
Right,
now, that is not acceptable.
One at a time.
Let me finish, rather than telling you.
Sorry, Shazia, just let me Paulette respond to that.
There are people out there that are like that anyway.
Of course.
Okay?
But don't you feel ashamed to be on the same side as them?
We don't condone that.
It's about
there
control.
There are some racists that are on the inside I've met. So, you
that is obviously a racist comment, and it should be dealt with in a racist manner.
But don't you feel ashamed to be on the same side as that?
You're on the same side. You're on the same side as these people. Let me finish. You're on the same side as these people.
We want controlled immigration. Is Australia racist for having controlled immigration?
The campaign has rubbed acid into what was an ulcer in the country anyway. We know that, and I think anybody taking responsibility either side over much for this ought to get together pretty quick to try and heal the sores that have been opened by totally unnecessary exercise.
Of course, you were vice chairman of the Conservative Party and Ted Heath's aide. I mean, how do you feel about your party having done this?
Well, nobody is pretending that the contemporary EU is a perfect successor to what the founding fathers foresaw. But the idea that we should turn our back on a grouping that was about peace and peaceful coexistence in a very troubled world at a time when the whole planet is in turmoil, and the only people who are raising a glass for you people
Can I let Darren come back? Because he's had a bit of stick tonight, and I need him to respond.
Absolutely. I think that where racism is
it
found, it should be tackled. It is wrong. It is not the British way. It is intolerant and disgusting. But I think the sneering, calling me unintelligent, is absolutely why you lost this campaign.
Absolutely.
Your arrogance and your snobbishness is disgusting, and that is why you lost.
I agree with the British people, because everybody, the racists are minorities. They're a small amount.
We have to finish. I'm really sorry, but we're out of time. We could have done with 3 times the amount of time, but thank you very much, all of you, for coming in.
Getting away with it all.